Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16 millimeter film crew. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dale.
This week we watched You Me in Tuscany, directed by Kat Corio. Anna impulsively jets off to Tuscany, Italy to stay at a stranger's villa without permission. Caught inside the house by the man's mother, she convinced the woman that she's his fiancée. That little lie soon becomes a big problem when Anna develops a growing attraction to the stranger's handsome cousin. This movie stars Halle Bailey and Regé-Jean PH. So, Dale, what are your thoughts about this movie?
Um, uh, I kind of enjoyed it. It's like because Hollywood doesn't make traditional rom-coms anymore. It's the perfect foundation, I think, for a lot of up and coming actors to gain their chops. Because you have the drama, you have the romance, you have the comedy on it. It's a really well-rounded esque platform for actors to hone their skills. Like, look at Matthew McConaughey is a perfect example of it. Like, he literally grinded, rom coms, and he got the Lincoln Lawyer. Then from that, it spiraled onto other stuff and other things. Like, but I think romantic comedies in Hollywood has always been foundational in developing new talent. In a way, you don't have that anymore. And I think it's a perfect spot for Halle Bailey because she is still a developing actress. There are things that actress as you watch, you go, oh, that I don't think the delivery is right. You could tell in watching it, like she is still learning the craft in the midst of her rising skill as an actress. Um, but the biggest thing I realized in watching it, I understand that Will Packer wasn't the one who directed it, but his track record being involved in casting a lot of movies and also being producer of them, he does have some cash in what's happening in the movie. I think he finds movies and is able to find movies that draw women and speak to them in a way that Tyler Perry thinks he can and cannot. There's a massive execution. I think the movies Will Packer is able to come across with that target audience of mostly Black women. I think there is a way that romance is depicted that a lot of Black women really embrace and identify with that Tyler Perry cannot execute. What I see as a man watching the differences, I think Tyler Perry's version of Black romance, the way he thinks Black women should go for, is more so you should reduce yourself. You shouldn't want more. You shouldn't want to attain everything. Whereas Will Packer, the movies he produces, like you can want to attain those things. You can want all this stuff. Like go for it and find romance. So I found the dichotomy of those two because they're the only two real Black men doing it in that space. But there's a big chasm in their delivery in that subject matter.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying that I don't like romantic comedies. I'm not like
Yeah,
a huge fan of them.
yeah.
My favorite romantic comedy is not even a it's My Best Friend's Wedding, which is like it kind of subverts all the tropes that you're kind of thinking about when it comes
Yeah.
to the characters, which is why I really like it.
Hmm.
Also, Julia Roberts, like, can't get enough of her. So yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of the genre because it tends to be a little predictable to me.
Hmm.
Like you know where it's gonna go, and it's like the story kind of forces the people together, even if they might not be suited together. Like the story kind of pushes these two people together because it's like that is the point of this genre is to get these two people together. So I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. And I thought this one was fine. It's just like not that interesting to me in terms of like anything that happens in it. Like I just didn't feel anything. I didn't feel the chemistry between the two actors
Hmm.
at all. And I just felt like the story was like it was very predictable as well. And then I don't know if I was obsessed with the writing and I felt like the acting was kind of like obviously Haley Bailey is like you're
Learning on the
saying,
job.
learning how to act. Like,
Mm.
so because of that, the performance isn't like gripping. I can't like really fall into the performance or what she's doing. Like, I'm just like, that's Haley Bailey. Like, I didn't watch The Little Mermaids. I don't know what she did in that, but I just know in this, the performance is going to be kind of stilted. And Ray J just kind of looked like he was there to collect a check. Like, he didn't really seem like he was that
Fully invested, yeah.
invested in it either. Like he kind of was phoning it in, and I'm like, isn't this Mr. Bridgerton? Like I'm burned for you. Like where is that intensity? Like I was looking for that intensity, and that was not there with this
Mhm.
one. The best part was the Italian driver because he's in Four Seasons, the television show. He's great, and every time he was on screen, I loved it. And like the Italian auntie who was like sleeping with the Palmer, I thought she was fun. But like everyone else, I don't know. It was just like okay. Like I just wasn't it wasn't pulling me in at all. I was just like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Haley Billy's beautiful. And that's it.
Yeah, it's more, and I think, and that's the thing, like I don't think like the supporting cast, like the family and her fairy Italian godfather, like I think all those auxiliary performances were amazing. I think they did probably a better job performing. I think Regé was probably just there, like he was in it, and then it was kind of like, I think with acting also, and this is why I also say that rom-coms are a dying art, because this is what develops actors, is that feeling of, okay, we're like, because you're playing off another character actor, and if the performance isn't right to you, you're just kind of, I think he played it by the numbers, like this is the performance I was supposed to give, but because I'm not really getting anything back from you, I'm just gonna paint it by the numbers. And Halle, she is trying her best. Like this is her second major role as an.
Mhm.
I don't really count the stuff in Grownish as acting, because I think Grownish and Blackish are poorly written. So these two movies, mostly, Color Purple, she wasn't in there for that very long, but Little Mermaid and this are her in being in the movie in entirety, actually having to perform and act. They're still learning the language of acting, how to go off instinct and not just give verbatim what it says, so yeah, I think Reggie did play by the numbers, but I did enjoy everybody else in the movie a lot. I did think like maybe the Italian aunt or whatever, talking about sleeping upon, maybe it was done too much
Yeah,
to a
it
degree.
was overplayed.
It was overplayed a lot for laughs. And also the stuff with the other brother who was like social media addicted. I do think those two characters probably were a bit too much in my view.
Yeah, and I guess just to give some of the actors some leeway that like if it's written that way, then
Mm.
there isn't
Much you can do.
yeah, you're just trying to work with the material. So like on one hand, I can totally understand like it not feeling that good like connected or whatever because the writing and my friend told me this when she watched it and I definitely can see it here is that the writing of these some of these characters are very stereotypical
Mhm.
and also they just don't have any depth.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing really underneath any of these characters. Like there's no real complexity. There's no struggle of like identity or whatever. Like there's none of that. It's just very surface level. And like the characters will tell you exactly who they are and like why they are this way. Like Ridge is like, I'm literally the responsible one. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm not free. And that's why I can't find a woman to love. Like very what tell not even show like it was very stereotypical not really any depth there and so that's why I also think it doesn't connect because
Yeah.
I think like maybe there is a better version of the story where it's like I don't know we just get more from these characters and they're just more subtle like
Mhm.
maybe that could have worked better.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not really sure.
Well, I think Reggie's character, it's also the way his character is written is, it's a contradiction, because he goes on to say parents died, he became grounded, he became very responsible, very serious. He goes on to say he loves what he does. He has no regrets. Like he like literally, and you can tell as he's interacting with the family, interacting with her, that he actually enjoys, running the vineyard, doing all that stuff. He's interacting with the community. Like he loves it. But then he then to kindly said like, oh, I don't enjoy it. I feel like I'm being forced to do this because you're irresponsible. We've never shown that struggle in the scenes of him like oh some kind of like oh I have to because my cousin brother is irresponsible so I have to take it the reins. There is never that hesitation. You would think in the moments where they're like upfront and honest, when he's talking like, yeah, I do regret having to be the responsible one out of the two of us, but he doesn't ever bring that up. To suddenly now spring it on you out of nowhere, it's like, where was that characterization coming from? Like all
Mm.
he only says is like, oh, he essentially goes, I'm a workaholic. I'll never find love out of nowhere. But we don't see that him wrestling with me having to be the torchbearer for the family, the leader, because Mateo doesn't want to do anything and I don't like it. You don't see that at all. We're told not sure.
Yeah, and I even feel like the fact that he was an adopted child, and was growing up with his brother who felt like more free or whatever to do whatever he wanted to do, like they don't even really explore that dynamic between the brothers. They just end up fighting. Like
Yeah.
there's just a fight scene. So you know that there's issues. Like they didn't even like really develop that because Mateo's not even there for most of the movie. Like he comes in pretty late and then he's like in and out of scenes. Like he's not even really like fully present in this movie. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just weird because I'm like, and that's what I mean about like not giving them any depth. Because I feel like if we would have developed those dynamics,
Yeah.
like I would have felt more by the time they got to the fight scene. Like
Yeah.
that fight scene would have been earned. But because we didn't really get anything there,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, they're just throwing hands. Cool.
Yeah, because the way he describes his relationship with Mateo's like, oh, we did this every year. Like it's cordial. You don't really all you hear about the negative thing. Oh, Mateo just left one year and never told anybody. I'm like, okay, I know you wouldn't be that upset with somebody for just leaving after a year. There has to be some deep seated issue why you're now fist fighting or not arguing about a barrel of wine or whatever beyond just you being attracted to his air quotes fiance and him still being with Isabella in a way. So yeah, I wish we probably would have exposed that. And the issue I also have with the movie is one, I don't like the way some of the scenes were shot. It felt a lot of the scenes they were center framed for some of them, and they felt like really green screen. Like
Mm,
there was no lack of that cinematic magic you get like when you see a scene like a lot of the walking and talking scenes was center framed, and then everybody perfectly parting around her, and it's like they're walking through the scenes and stuff. If I know a character is like walking through the city or whatever, yeah, there's maybe a couple face shots, but I want a camera probably across the road as they're on the phone talking and stuff like because the cities and stuff these movies are saying is also a character in a way, but to limit it to just square on, you're framed perfectly. You're walking and talking like, and it looks like you're against a green screen backdrop is kind of lazy in a way. So yeah, and I also didn't like the fact that a lot of the expositionary dialogue was done through the use of, hey, we're just going to use voiceovers of us driving through the Italian countryside and us basically telling backstory to
hmm.
avoid actually showing it. If you weren't going to show it and just have it done driving through the Italian countryside, you could have cut those scenes shorter, and then the scenes we're talking about were lacking with all these characters. You could have added those in instead of giving me these, 2-minute scenes of Anna and her Italian fairy godfather driving through the countryside with their voiceover playing in the background.
Yeah.
You could have cut it short and then have them actually interact and talk. Like they did it one time where they stopped the car, they're eating their sandwiches, and she tells him her story. Like that
Mm,
was good, but all the other ones is just here's this aerial shot of this giant vista and us talking. Yeah.
yeah. It's it's just so mid. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way I can describe it. It's just like
Yeah.
very, very mid.
Yeah.
And I just was not interested in this relationship. I don't, and I also feel like when it comes to those like misunderstandings where it's like, oh, or like people who are lying and trying not to get found out or whatever, it just kind of feels like at a certain point there's only so far you can go with the lie before
Mm-hmm.
someone catches you in it. Or even before people started getting suspicious, like no one really got suspicious. There
Yeah.
was like one point where Regé goes, oh, like, oh, one of the cousins who's always on the phone, looked you up online and he didn't see any pictures of you and Mateo. And she goes like, "Oh yeah, I don't do any of my private stuff on, online or whatever." And it's like that was the only time anyone like was sus about this situation. Like a random girl shows up in your villa and is like, "Oh yeah, I'm his fiance," even though he isn't here and I don't really
Hmm.
know anything about him. Like we weren't gonna ask any more questions. Like the way that the family embraces her without any questions asked is very strange to me, and it doesn't feel real.
Yeah,
That I think that's a thing.
I love how this all unravels with the ex fiance when she sees him, sees her wearing the ring.
Mhm.
One, how, how did you know about the ring? Two, if you're an ex, like if I break up with somebody who I was supposed to marry and we call it off and I leave for another country, there's no way out of the blue I'm gonna call you and say, "Oh, I just met your new girl," kind of thing. You know,
Mm.
I kind of don't view that like really realistically. Maybe I'm using it as from a guy. I don't know. Um, and yeah, I felt thought that was kind of weird. Like it was forced to create the confrontation in a way.
Yeah, and then it didn't really even do anything, right?
Yeah,
Because it's not even like Mateo was really even into Anna. It was just more of like oh, my family is embracing me, so let's just keep this thing going. It's not even so there wasn't any stakes. Like him
mm,
making out with the girlfriend only really his ex-girlfriend only really had an impact on the brother on Regé. Like
yeah,
he got upset because he likes Anna. But
yeah,
Anna didn't even care because like
yeah.
she's not even into it. So it's like, okay, so what was the point of any of this?
Yeah,
Like
like she like they could have just had that scene where it ends with her being mad about him proposing to another girl after he left her, and that would have been perfectly fine. And then him just coming back, he didn't have to say it. Like, he doesn't have to write it to say, "Oh, Isabella called me and said, oh, I met your fiance," because they could have just him just coming back home, because he did say when they first initially met, he was thinking about coming back home already. That thought was already in his head. That was how they bonded about the issues they were dealing with. So the thought idea was the fact that he was already going back home to Italy. So he could have just decided to come back home to Italy, and you could have just bypassed the whole, "Hey, my ex fiance called me and say I'm your we're getting married. What's up with that?" Kind of
mm,
thing.
yeah, I don't, I don't know. Anyway,
Mm.
finally, my final issue with this movie is the portrayal of Black people. And the only reason is because it's directed by a white woman and it's written by two white people.
Yeah,
And some of the dialogue that the Black folks say is
yeah,
just what?
cringe.
Yeah, it's cringe.
Yeah,
It's cringe and it's also like not really how Black people talk.
no,
Oh, it just feels super inauthentic.
yeah.
And I think that the fact that Black people weren't in the writer's room, like it really shows. I mean, I can't I don't know what to feel about this. Well, I do have a feeling about I do know what I feel about this. I just don't know if what's gonna happen. Because my thing is like, I think it's great if you want to make a rom-com about Black people that is, I guess, where their race isn't the focus of
Hmm.
the story.
But it
I think
was
that
though.
it was, yeah. I mean,
What's
my
the
thing is
what's
like,
the first thing when she meets Reggie? She goes, "Oh, I thought you'd react and treat me since we're the only two people like us here." And he goes, "What do you mean English?" Completely sidestepping the color issue.
yes. And I think the thing is like, I mean, in the way where it's like the races of these people aren't like the focal point of the story. It's not like being brought up. It's not a point of conflict. It's not anything
Yeah,
like, because it's not like they don't. No one seems to care. Like that's what's the most shocking thing to me is that like no one seems to care that she's Black and she's just randomly in their house. Like I don't know. I've been to Italy. I don't think that that would be anyone's reaction if
yeah, I
you know what I'm saying.
wouldn't know.
So yeah, again, just the inauthentic piece of that. But I also don't like. I think it's okay if you don't want to make it the main focus of it, but I don't know if you can do that. Like I'm just trying to think like is that even a reality to like make a story, any kind of
Here's
story and not at least address it in a meaningful way? You know what I mean?
here's the thing when I realized what a lot of people complain, and particularly white people complain about when characters are race bent. for a long
Mhm.
time with black characters in movies, their or black characters in comics, black character in books, their race is integral to their character.
Mhm.
It's never they can't just be like Batman, rich man dressed up as abandoned parents, you know, fights crime. It's always their race for black people is always integral with their character. And that becomes a problem when you have a movie like this where you're trying to sidestep it. It's really hard to do. And also when you also do decide to embrace the cultural aspects of the character, comes off cringy, like the end with the bus and the older black woman saying a
Mhm.
thing, her text messages with her friend, her dialogue. I feel like this movie was originally initially not gonna was obviously not going to be picked up by Will Packard. Like I said, Will Packard's one of the few directors still or producers still putting out rom coms in a way. Um, and I don't think this movie, like you said, written by a white person, directed by a white woman, it probably was not going to get picked up. And other than it, Will Packer picking up, and then once Will Packer gets it, goes, "Oh, this is the cast I want for the movie." Like Renee, up and coming black lead actor. He doesn't do the askew of I'm an English actor pretending to be American. He's like, I'm completely English. Here's my
Mhm.
accent. I'm not hiding it. Halle Bailey. I'm trying to enter that area of acting. Okay, cool. These two characters are black. How do we reference that in these characters who were clearly not written to be black? So now you have the dialogue exchanges with her and her friend, and and those aunties on the bus at the end as well, and it comes off cringy.
Yeah, because it just doesn't sound like real things that any black person would say to another one, like
Yeah,
another black person. And I just feel like if you want black people in your films, I think that that is great, but I also feel like you have to do work on the other side. You have to do work on the behind the scenes. You have to get black writers to be in your writer's room. Like you have to have black friends. Like I don't know, you kind of have to do that other work in order for it to feel authentic. Because then it's just black people in the movie for black people for the sake of
and and
diversity.
and that's the thing. Like where like we see Mateo come back and he has all five of his friends. We've seen Regé's character and Halle Bailey interact throughout the whole movie. And of course, he does mention like he was born in England. His mother was Italian, so he's of course biracial. And then they die. He gets adopted, moves to Italy with the rest of his family. Okay, cool. So I know he probably won't have friends of color, but where are his friends anyway? Considering that they also mentioned as well, this is a small town, everybody knows each other. Mateo comes home. Nobody knew Mateo was coming home. Five of his homeboys shows up. You've been there since you were a child. Where are your friends?
Mm.
You know, you don't say, oh, like, because I know if I'm out with my friends and we're somewhere, I go, oh, I have some people, I have other friends. Let's join them. Let's link up and go around town. You know what I'm saying? Where's his circle of friends? Only the friend we say, oh, me, Mateo, and Isabella. Yeah, we hang out. Used to hang out as kids, and then that's it. Where's your other bonds?
Mm. Yeah, it's yeah, just not
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm.
writing all the way
Mm-hmm.
around.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I was reading something where some woman was trying to sell her script that was also a rom-com with like
Mm-hmm.
but she was a black woman. I think the movie was with black characters,
Mm-hmm.
but executives had told her we have to see how this movie performs before we greenlight your movie.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the standard for black art and like who gets to
Dictate.
have yeah who gets to be have their movies be mainstream and who gets their movie sidelined and it's like just for the black audience and whatever. Like I just feel like it's a really unfair field of like trying to get your stuff out there just because I think maybe some of these executives are just looking for maybe like diversity quotas. They're not even like caring about like if the diversity representation is accurate in any type of way. It's just like we need the one black movie. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. So y'all just trying to give Black audiences anything? Like it
Yeah.
just really is. It's deeply uncomfortable when
Yeah.
you have to look into
And
it.
that and that's why I said at the beginning, like the difference between Will Packer and Tyler Perry. When Will Packer does find these movies, like I said, even though it's written by a white woman, it's still written by a woman.
Hmm.
Directed by women. So when those aspects of romance are there, it's how women view romance and how they want to be seen in romance. As compared to even for all those drawbacks in the movie, the fact that there is inherent beyond like race. These are how women like to be seen or viewed in romance. In a way, which is something once again Tyler Perry doesn't do because he's a man trying to think women must love all muscular men because he might have a certain viewpoint. I'm not going to continue past on that. So because he thinks that, he goes, women must think that too, and that's not always, the case. So even for all these issues with the movie itself, the fact that it's probably a more accurate representation of what women view as romance still works. To a degree.
So.
To a degree.
This is
it's
not how I view romance.
It's not to a degree. Everybody views romance differently, but it's like I think it's a really it's not a talk down to you way. You know what I'm saying? It's the best way I can describe it.
I think they're trying is the best I can give to them, but
an attempt was made.
An attempt was made.
Yeah.
They tried in my Normani voice. She tried. I just feel like I also want to like bring back some like unusual looking actors, like the Adam Drivers, I don't know. Like, I mean, well, they're white men, so I guess they're conventionally attractive, but like some unusual looking faces, and not every man with the freaking 8-pack, because like that's not really what I think most women want, in my opinion. I just don't think that like being buff is just like the only thing that's like the only measure of attractiveness that women are going by. Like, I don't think so. All of these men in all of these rom-coms are just like tall, buff, and handsome, and I'm just like, well, okay. Hey, listen, maybe that is true for some. So, you know what? If it's for you, it's for you. So,
yeah,
that's fine. I'm just saying, like, let's switch it up.
Yeah.
Let's get some guys who have, a little, I don't know, just like a normal body. Like, most men don't have 6-packs. Like, I don't know. It's very, anyways, that's a whole different conversation. This movie was okay, and an attempt was made. So I don't even know if I can say yay. I'm just like, it's out there.
Look, I as Black people, it sucks that we don't ever get the full version of something. So even with the worst attempts at some stuff, we kind of have to like, okay, the attempt was made, and I appreciate the attempts. Anyway, what sucks, but I can't not be mad at the attempt, even though the attempt wasn't accurate.
Yeah. Well, that is it from us this week. We hope that you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. Make sure to check out all of our social media. Support us if you can, and we will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Au revoir.